Well, hey there, everyone. I'm meteorologist Cassie Hyder. Doing the Facebook Live now, and we're going to talk about, honestly, just how cold it is, how cold it's going to continue to be. We've been obviously advertising this for quite some time, and if you've been outside in the past 24 hours, you've noticed a little bit of a difference. Now, we definitely have a lot of cloud cover ongoing. We also had some snow showers that took place yesterday evening and late last night. And a lot of that was actually lake effect snow from Lake Louisville, which was kind of cool. Did produce some very, very minimal accumulations, but nonetheless, there was a little bit of snow, so that's kind of fun. Not everyone got the snow. A lot of us just got the extreme cold, and that is still just going to kind of be here for quite some time. I just want to open up to say that if you guys do have any questions, I'm going to be looking at those from time to time. So if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. We're going to get going here. So our weather alert days are still ongoing. They actually go all the way through tomorrow morning. So what's going on is it started, yesterday when everything came in. We're talking about the cold Arctic air. It was an Arctic cold front that came in, and now we're just kind of taking this polar plunge, and it goes all the way through 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I'm not expecting any more slick spots, okay? That's pretty much out of here, but really the bigger impact is going to be just how cold it's going to continue to be, because we're still seeing those single-digit wind chills in a lot of places, and especially by tomorrow morning, I am expecting those wind chill values, what it actually feels like outside, to be in the single digits, if not maybe a few degrees below zero. Some locations north and west of DFW will definitely get several degrees below zero. So if you haven't already, hopefully you have, just make sure to protect the 4 Ps. We advertise this a lot, kind of helps you to remember it. The people, pets, pipes, and plants, obviously wear lots of layers, because it's just going to continue to be very cold for quite some time. So we've got the extreme cold warning. You can see that stretches across most of North Texas, where you see the cold weather advisory off to the east. It's almost kind of silly, because no matter how you slice it, it's just going to be really cold, and you have to take the cold seriously, because it really doesn't take a whole lot of time for it to get very dangerous, especially when you're talking about the late night and early morning hours, when you're getting those wind chills several degrees below zero. That can cause some problems, right? Well, right now, let's take a look at what the actual temperature is at DFW. Put this into play mode. It's not pretty outside. We definitely have a lot of clouds, but temperatures have come up. We did get down into the lower teens this morning, and right now, not a whole lot of improvement by any means. We're only at 19 degrees, and the dew point is at 8. It's dry outside. We do have a little bit of a wind. That wind right now gusting over 30 miles an hour. When we get those kind of wind gusts, that's when those wind chills come down. So even though the air temperature itself is at 19 degrees, it feels like 1 degree above zero. It's terrible. It's really cold. In fact, it's pretty cold in this studio. I'm not going to lie, but at least I'm not outside, right? Hopefully you don't have to spend a lot of time outdoors by any means. And looking at William in the chat said, can we jump to Monday, skip this cold stuff? I wish we could. In fact, even Saturday doesn't look all that bad. I still have temperatures in the 40s on Saturday, and we're going to show you all of that here in just a second. But when you've got temperatures in the 40s, it just makes you appreciate it so much more after seeing temperatures like this. So this is our right now map. This is what we're looking at all across North Texas. Some of us are still in the teens. In fact, I just showed you at DFW, we're at 19 degrees, but at Fort Worth, at least there, we're at 18 degrees versus downtown Dallas. We somehow managed to make it to one of the warmer spots. We're actually at 21 degrees, but 22 in Wichita Falls. We've got 18 degrees is one of the coldest in Granbury, and there's a 17 in Stephenville and in Meridian. So it's cold no matter where you go. You can see the farther east and south you go, maybe temperatures are a little bit better, but everyone across North Texas at this point is below freezing. I'm going to make things worse, though. I'm going to show you the wind chill. That's fun because we do have so much wind. So this is a big factor, right? When you've got the wind, it puts most of us in the single digits. Not everyone, but it's got 2 degrees right now in Fort Worth. That's what it feels like in Fort Worth. Downtown Dallas, it feels like 6 degrees, but it feels like 3 in McKinney. It feels like 7 in Bowie, 2 in Hamilton, 2 in Stephenville. So it's just really cold. it's just really cold. That wind, it's still coming out of the north, between about 20 to 30 miles an hour. I did go ahead and do a planner for this evening and into tonight, and it's in red because we still have the weather alert days, but tomorrow I still expect temperatures to stay below freezing. At this point, I think we start out in the low to mid-teens, and then later in the afternoon, temperatures, we're going to struggle, I think, to make it back to about 30 degrees. So it's still just going to be really cold. That's not going to change anytime soon. Lows tonight, let's take a look at that. So for Dallas-Fort Worth, there's not going to be that much of a difference between Fort Worth downtown versus Dallas. It's maybe a degree or two, but about 13 to 14 degrees. The record is actually 19 degrees. So I think we're going to be breaking those records. That was back in 1939. So it's been quite some time since we've gotten this cold, at least on this particular day, right? But we're dropping back down into the single digits around Seymour and Archer City and Wichita Falls. We're looking at about 9 degrees. And then we've got 18 in Corsicana. We've got 18 in Mexia, which I love saying Mexia now because, when I first moved here, I said Mexia. I learned my lesson there. So Mexia it's definitely a lot prettier. I like saying it now because I'm so proud of myself that I can say it correctly. And a lot of people, sent me emails on how to pronounce other towns when they realize that I'm probably struggling with a few, which I super appreciate. And we actually have a handbook back here that explains or pronunciation guides, which is super helpful. I came from Oklahoma. I was up there for 10 and a half years, and we had a lot of complicated names too. We had a lot of Native American tribe names, cities and towns, and so we had a lot of complicated ones too. It just takes a second to get used to. And we actually had one of my favorite ones was we had a Miami, but it's spelled Miami. Two totally different places, let me tell you. But let's go back to the wind chill. So again, tonight and into tomorrow morning, I think, temperatures could be maybe a couple of degrees colder than where we were this morning. So this time, when factoring in the wind, I'm thinking it's going to feel more like 1 or 2 degrees in the morning across DFW. But, the farther north you go, it will be a little bit colder. So now we've got about 6 degrees below zero in Wichita Falls and 8 below zero in Bowie, but 6 below zero in Archer City, 4 in Sherman below zero, and that's going to be 4 below zero in Eastland too. So no one's warm by any means. No one spot is really better than the other. You could say Shreveport is one of the warmer spots over in Louisiana at 7 degrees, but that's not necessarily comfortable by any means. Tomorrow though, it does look a little bit better, at least as far as the high temperatures are concerned. And we're talking 32 degrees maybe in downtown Dallas, but about 31 at DFW. So at this point, I just think it's going to be extremely cold still. The record, though, is about 35. So we'll see, okay? I still think there's a possibility that we stay just below freezing, but there are going to be some spots that do make it maybe a few degrees above freezing finally. But I think we stay under that for Thursday. I think in DFW around Dallas, I think we do make it to above freezing by the time we get into Friday. Looking at some of these questions, B says, welcome to Texas. Thank you so much. I love it here. This is not my, my first rodeo by any means here. Living in Oklahoma, it's only a few hours away, and I would visit Dallas all the time. Why wouldn't you? This is such a cool city. So much to do, so much to learn, so much to see. And typically, it was warmer here. Which is another reason why I loved it so much. Not necessarily today, but it's still warmer than what it is up in Oklahoma City. And, they had a lot of ice and snow and sleet, and the roads were just treacherous. There were so many wrecks up there. It was just wild. So I still feel very blessed to be down here with you guys. This is totally different. It's definitely warmer. And someone asked, where's the snow? Well, one, it kind of depends on where you are. I think we're done with the snow at this point. We had the snow from Lake Louisville that caused a few bands, and it's because that water was still warm, relatively speaking. And what that does when you got that true cold air, that Arctic air moving on top, that heat, the moisture, it just kind of rises and it basically forms its own cloud, and then it starts to spit out those snowflakes. And that can happen a little bit farther downstream, which is what happened, I know, around Oak Cliff. About 30 minutes down the road, we actually had a little bit of snow across parts of the metro. So pretty cool there, but that is definitely a thing that happens. But we're done with it now. Everything's pretty dry. I'm not expecting any more snow. So Amanda's asking, will we be getting more snow? At this point, it doesn't look like it anytime soon. There was actually, I was looking at all the different forecast models earlier when I got in, and there is some data that tries to bring in some snow on March 2nd. But obviously that's still quite a ways out. And when you look at data that far away, that's going to change more times than not. So I'm not putting snow in the forecast just yet. Other data says it's way too warm to see anything like that. But there is still data that says all across North Texas we actually do get some snow, but not actually putting that in the official forecast yet because that's kind of an outlier at this point. So no reason to get too excited about that. Oh gosh, yes. Ramona says, I went outside to get my mail, didn't wear my gloves, and when I got back in the house, my hands were so cold, I could barely turn my doorknob. I get you. I'm right there with you. So I live in an apartment, and in Oklahoma, I lived in a house. I have a dog. That's the point of this story. I used to be able to open the door, let him out, let him do his thing. Now I have to go outside with him, and yeah, it's not fun by any means. You definitely don't want to be out there in it. So yeah, tomorrow temperatures, it's still just going to be really cold. I think it's going to be a little bit better than today, but again, that's all relative. So tonight we're dropping down to 13 degrees. I still think we have some clouds around. We may have some breaks in the clouds, but I'm not expecting any more snow. I think, so it's windy right now, but tonight it's still going to be breezy. The wind only goes down just a little bit. So a north wind between 10 to 20 miles an hour. It's still going to give you those wind chills in the single digits, and for some locations it will be below zero. So record cold and breezy. Again, that record being 19 degrees. I think we easily surpass that. And then tomorrow afternoon, officially I am going about 31, maybe 30 degrees. We'll see. At this point, I'm going 31. We'll see what Pete wants to do a little bit later, but I don't think we make it to freezing. And we've been pretty consistent on that. We've been saying that we'd see a lot more hours. We should finally get to above, or at least at freezing by the time we get to about noon on Friday. So I think we do that. But tomorrow we're expecting more sun. It's going to be a beautiful day. You just, obviously don't want to be out in it. I'm going to try and see. Juan says, stay warm. I'm going back to bed until Monday. I wish I could do that, right? Just hibernate. I think a lot of people, especially the people that get to work from home, are really appreciating it right now. We had snow earlier in Sulphur Springs, Texas. How much did you get, Stephen? I'm curious. And Angel's doing a bunch of coffee emojis, and that sounds pretty good right now. I'm an iced coffee drinker. I was this close to getting iced coffee today, but I couldn't do it. I actually couldn't do it. But typically the cold and iced coffee, that I still don't care. What are the roads like from Greenville to Love Field? The roads have been fine. We haven't really seen any issues. If there are issues, I'm looking at some of our traffic cameras right now behind me, and I'm not seeing nothing standing out to me. It seems like traffic is flowing very smoothly. If there are going to be problems, it wouldn't be weather related. It's just been so dry and we've had so much wind. And so any of the moisture that we did have from yesterday or last night, it just kind of evaporated really quickly. It dried up. So that's not going to be an issue. Courtney's asking, what's the weather for tomorrow? Well, Courtney, if you can see the graphic there, that's what we're expecting. It's really going to be cold. Not as cold as today, but still cold. I think we stay below freezing. It's going to be mostly sunny. So I know we've got the clouds around, but today, not a beautiful day by any means. I think tomorrow, that usually helps when we get the sunshine. It kind of helps to lift people's spirits at least a little bit. So I think, there's that. That's a silver lining. I'm going to show you the 14-day forecast though. And I've got the weather alert days still on there. So for, again, today, tomorrow, but technically we're ending the weather alert days on Thursday morning at 9 a.m. because later in the afternoon, I think, it'll be a little bit warmer. But yeah, it's just going to be really cold, at least through Friday. Friday, we finally make it above freezing. Saturday, we've got temperatures in the upper 40s. We have that chance of rain. Right now, I think that chance of rain, yesterday it was looking like it was actually going to be in the morning. Now the latest data is trying to shift it more to Saturday evening, Saturday night, and into Sunday morning, which is actually okay because at this point it looks like temperatures would be above freezing, and so it would just be a cold rain. So we would get rain, but it also looks like Sunday, those temperatures, we did have it in the 60s. I did have to lower it down in the 50s. I think if the rain kind of lingers around, the clouds may as well, and the wind's not going to be very strong. So I just think that temperatures are going to be cool, but upper 50s. I mean, compared to what we're dealing with right now, it really doesn't seem all that bad. Looking at some of the comments. Love iced coffee in the winter and ice cream. The colder the weather, the better. I agree with you typically. I love iced coffee. I like ice cream. I'm not a big ice cream person, but I know a lot of people love getting ice cream and think it's awesome when it's cold outside. It is kind of funny though. That's definitely funny. So yeah, Steven said, my parents and I look at the weather on the phone, but it shows that it's not going to snow, but just, I'm not sure what that word is. Then we saw snow outside. We were confused. Yeah, well, it's first off, last night we were talking about the possibility of lake effect snow. Not every lake is going to produce lake effect snow, but we actually did get some of that out of Lake Louisville. So it kind of depends on where you are. I'm not sure exactly where you are, but even downstream of that lake, people saw some snow, even here in the metro. Thank you. I'm not sure how to say your name because I don't want to mess it up, but she says, love this dynamic. You're doing a beautiful job. Really enjoy getting information in this interactive setting. Thank you. This is my second time doing a Facebook Live through WFAA. So thank you for that. Still getting used to the new setup here. Jesse, I actually had to FaceTime Jesse and he helped me to get some of the things set up here. So that's all new. Christian says it seems like the clouds are taking longer to clear out. Yeah, I know. I wish I could bring the camera close. Well, you can kind of see some of the cameras behind me there. Here, I'll move out of the way. Yeah, it's cloudy. I had COD up, or I was looking at satellite earlier, and the clouds really aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. Looking at all of our cameras, I'm not seeing any breaks in the clouds anywhere. It just looks so gray. It's just winter. That's what it is. It's winter. It's February. Someone said, or Larry said, I went on a round trip from Garland to Plano and back. There's no problems out on the roads. You just don't want to get out of your lane on the shoulder because the shoulders are still kind of icy. Well, that's good to know. Thank you. So main roads, we really haven't been seeing too many reports of any problems. Of course, we had our traffic reporters today. We had other reporters out in the field, and there really didn't seem to be too many traffic issues, at least when it comes to being weather related. Of course, it's DFW. When you get in a big metropolitan area, there's going to be some traffic issues, but fortunately, it didn't seem like any of that was weather related. Looking at some of these comments, are we expecting some snow again? Stephen, I was talking about this a little bit earlier. Not very soon. I was looking at the model data when I first got in, just trying to check with the latest forecast, and some data, only, and really one out of several that we look at, was saying that we could possibly get some snow. It looked like around March 2nd, so that would be a Sunday. And I've been paying very close attention to that because March 4th is my birthday, which unfortunately is on a Tuesday. But Tuesdays are also my Thursday, so it's not terrible by any means. But I really wanted it to be warmer for my birthday. But March 2nd, some data is saying that we could get some snow. But when you're forecasting, when you're looking at data that far out, there's just very low chance that is actually going to be the forecast. It'll change 10 times before we get there. Do we think this will be the last big cold snap? You know, Pete was talking about this yesterday. As far as the big cold snap, I do think it could be. It could be the worst of it. I think what we're going through right now. Eventually, you know, temperatures by now should be around 60 degrees. This isn't terribly unusual, but we don't typically see a whole lot of cold snaps after we get past February, or at least this cold. It can get cold, don't get me wrong, but not this bad. Yeah, I know. David says work from home isn't all that. We have to work even if the weather is bad enough that everyone else gets the day off. No, I get you. I get you for sure. I mean, you know, I'm one of those that when the weather is very bad, that's when I must be at work. So everyone's job is totally different and requires them to do all the things. Let's see, let's look back at what I'm going to go over some of these graphics maybe one more time. Just remind you that, you know, the extreme cold warning, you got to take it seriously. You just don't want to spend too much time outdoors, especially if you have pets. Pets are very important to me. I have a dog, Lucas. His birthday is February 28th. He will be 8 years old, but he acts like a puppy and he likes to be outside. And he doesn't care that I'm out there with him while he wants to play. So you can't let him do that this time of year. You got to be like, okay, let's go. The extreme cold warning goes all the way through tomorrow morning, because we are expecting temperatures to get back down into the teens and single digits, and wind chills be even colder than that. Let's see what it is at DFW. Let's see what the temperature is. Or no, you know what? This is at WFAA Studios. This is going to be 19 degrees, but it feels like 1. So 19. That's not really doing anything for us, right? When we've got that wind out of the north, with gusts over 30 miles an hour, it's just going to feel a lot colder. Temperatures all across North Texas, very cold, upper teens to low 20s. So we're all in this together. We are all in this together. So if you've got to get out and about, traveling is not going to be an issue. It's more or less you getting in and out of your car that's going to be the issue, because it's just cold. That's what it is. It's just dangerous cold. And so factoring in that wind right now, it hurts. It hurts. It feels like 2 degrees right now in Fort Worth. It feels like 4 in downtown Dallas. Let's see. I see it feels like 1 below 0 in Hamilton. And it feels like 3 degrees in Bowman, 12 in Decatur. It's actually one of the warmer spots, and 9 degrees in Tyler. So yeah, so we are all very much in this together. And tonight we're dropping back down into the teens. I think we dropped down to about 13 degrees. The record being 19 and 1939. So we're breaking records. This is record cold. And, you know, someone asked, is this going to happen again? At this point, you know, can't say for sure, but I would expect temperatures to not get quite this cold again this season. This is definitely the coldest of the season. My grandson, Ramona, says, my grandson, his oldest daughter, both their birthday is March 5th. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, happy early birthday to them. Let's see, anything else? Am I missing? I don't think so. I need to start getting the rest of the show together. But if you guys have any questions, I do have social media. I have Twitter. You can see actually my social media there. Find me on Facebook. I believe it's meteorologist Cassie Hyder. I'm not sure if it's just Cassie Hyder, but you can see the spelling there. It shouldn't be hard to just search for it. I'm on Instagram also. Shoot me an email, whatever is easier for you. But thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time. And stay warm. Try to stay warm. Get a cup of coffee, hot chocolate, something. That sounds awesome. I might go do that now. Bye, guys.